We are daring to dream here in Season 3 of our Everton Takeover rebuild. The last time Everton were in the Europa League, they failed to qualify from the group stage. The last time they made the knockout stages of the competition was a couple of seasons before that when they were knocked out by Dynamo Kiev. And you have to go all the way back to the 1984-85 season to find the last time that Everton won a European trophy. But we are very much looking to write a fresh page into the books of history. Absolutely dominated Manchester United in the round of 16, winning 6-2 on aggregate. And now RC Lens are the only thing that stand between us and a place in the semi-finals. We're travelling away in the first leg, and that'll be our featured game of today's episode. But first, we'll be getting to highlights of our matches against Chelsea and Fulham, each in the Premier League. With such a congested fixtures list, it's no surprise that our form has slipped slightly, but we are still hanging on to 8th place in the Premier League, and we'll put ourselves firmly back amongst those teams chasing a European finish if we're able to come away with 3 points here against Chelsea. So Graham Potter fields his strongest 11, Pickford in goal, Patterson, Danzo, Toure, Ahmed Hodzic, De Kuyper the back five. Stack and McTominay have emerged as the strongest pairing in midfield. Saint-Maximin, Diao and Cunha comfortably our strongest front three. It's not going to be an easy task though. Chalobah, Disasi, Estupinian all featuring Chelsea's back line, alongside former Goodison Park favourite Jared Branthwaite. It's a world-class midfield that features for Chelsea Camavinga and Enzo the pairing. In defensive midfield, Cole Palmer, Christopher Nkunku and Raheem Sterling all support Armando Broja up front. Chelsea definitely got off to the brightest start in this one, playing some really nice football and creating some really good opportunities. Jordan Pickford had to be on top form to keep them from scoring within the opening 10 minutes of the game. We made a couple of good saves early, Jordan Pickford, as we really struggled to find our footing in the game. But unfortunately, he couldn't keep out the opening goal from Armando Broja. It was well worked by Chelsea, but it was a little bit unfortunate to lose possession on the edge of the box. Clinical finish, though, from the Chelsea striker. We replied almost instantly, though. A little bit of fortune going our way, as the ball fell to Matheus Cunha inside the penalty area just outside the 6-yard box, dragged it onto his left foot, fired past the Chelsea goalkeeper. And from there, we did start to grow into the game, and we probably had the better of the first half, to be honest. The Chelsea goalkeeper was in as fine a form as Jordan Pickford himself, parrying away this one from Matheus Cunha. And as we moved into the second half, we would eventually have the lead. Maxim De Kuyper scoring our first free kick of the series. I can probably count on one hand the amount of free kicks I've scored in FC 24 this year. This one is going to be right up there. And although we pressed to double our advantage, like in the Brighton game in the last episode, we just couldn't hold on to the lead. Jordan Pickford came out to smother what would have been what he thought a shot, but instead the ball was pulled across to Conor Gallagher. So points were shared at Goodison Park. A disappointing result considering we were leading so late into the game. And with only 2 days rest, that does bring us to our next game in the Premier League, travelling to Craven Cottage to take on Fulham. I usually hate playing Fulham, but we do at least get some good news before the game. James Garner is ready to return to training sessions. And once Garner is ready to join the first team once more, we will have a fully fit squad for the last couple of months. And with our quarterfinal clash against RC Lens just around the corner, Graham Potter has made a couple of changes to the starting 11. James Tarkowski coming back into the side, along with James Justin, Lewis Ferguson and Reece Nelson. And it was our turn to start the game brightly. Anton Stack broke from midfield, drove towards the Fulham goal. His shot was parried away by the Fulham goalkeeper initially, but Assane Diao was first to the deflection, and he tucked it home from a narrow angle to make it 1-0 early. Fulham are a good team, though. They're tough to play against, and they did make things difficult for us. Jordan Pickford again being called on to make a couple of good saves in the first half. This one, a header that he parried away from close range, got down really quickly to make the save, and Fulham did soon have their equaliser. It was a really nice passing move that completely cut us open straight through the middle, and Afif was left in acres of space in the box and tucked it in to make it 1-1. We would have the lead again before the halftime break, though. We hit Fulham on a quick counter-attack. A passing move as incisive as the one that led to their goal. Lewis Ferguson it was, placing the ball into the far corner to make it 2-1. And then Gerard Deulofeu, after the break, made it 3-1 and secured the victory for us. Fulham, after the break, were flooding players forward to try and get an equaliser. That left gaps in behind. Gerard Deulofeu punished them for that. And we did even have a couple of chances to really twist the knife late on. Fulham continued to press players forward in search of a way back into the game. Reece Nelson's pace exposing them, but he put his shot wide. And then Lewis Ferguson had one final chance right at the death, but his shot again was dragged harmlessly wide. So it was another good performance, and we do manage to come away with all 3 points. We are matching what we did in the last episode so far. A point in our first Premier League game, a win in our second. We managed to beat Manchester United and progress through to the next round of the Europa League. Let's see if we can do the same thing here against RC Lens. I've said this a couple of times in recent episodes, but this is one of the most important games in Everton's recent history. Definitely one of the most important games in the series so far. And I know I was talking down RC Lens somewhat in the build-up and in the previous episode of one of the easier draws that we could have had in the quarterfinals, but I have had a quick look at their team. Maybe not quite going to be the pushovers that I first anticipated. Lens have made a couple of big new additions to their side in this particular save. None more so than Victor Gyökeres, who leads the line for them today. Lukeba Castello starts at centre-back as well. Really interesting formation, some kind of 3-4-2-1, but it does look like Thomasin is slightly offset from Fulgini, Chavez and Karsdorp, the wing-backs, I would assume, here today. So it's going to be a really interesting approach from Lens. Graham Potter not making any adjustments to his starting 11 or to his system to try and match them. However, he has put his 3-4-3 formation out there. His strongest 11, beginning with Jordan Pickford in goal, Nathan Patterson, Kevin Danzo, Isak Toure, Arnel Ahmedhodzic, and Maxim de Kuyper, the back 5. Ferguson today starts with Anton Stack in midfield. Scott McTominay finds a place on the bench. Assane Diao and Alan Saint-Maximin support Matheus Cunha in what is an absolutely devastating front 3, especially in the form that they are each in at the moment. So without further ado, let's head over to Lens and see if we can do to them what we did to Manchester United in the first leg in the previous round. So we are up in the commentary box for what is undoubtedly the biggest game of the series so far. A quarter-final matchup in the Europa League. 3 seasons it's taken us to get here, as RC Lens look to get off to a really positive start down their right-hand side. However, it looks early as if they're going to be committing players forward. And I guess we should have anticipated that, since they are playing with those wing-backs. How's that not a foul? How's that not a foul on the edge of the box? Matheus Cunha shaping to shoot. Tackled by the Lens defender. I don't think he got the ball. I think he got all of Matheus Cunha and none of the ball there. And I actually think that we might be set up to deal with this Lens formation and system incredibly well. I think we're going to have numbers back to defend as they try to overload on the wings with our own fullbacks and also the wingers ahead of them coming back to defend. But then also we're going to be able to get in behind the RC Lens back line in instances exactly like this, because they just have a straight back 3. And with the wing backs up ahead of them, I think they're going to be left exposed. And Alan Saint-Maximin exposes the Lens back line immediately. I was waiting for options to appear in the middle. Matheus Cunha to arrive. And that is a small contingent of Everton fans that have made the away trip. But they have seen their side take the lead, what, 5-6 minutes into the game. The goalkeeper got a solid hand on it, but not enough to parry it wide. Only enough to parry it into the side netting. And Alan Saint-Maximin, what an impact he has made for the club since joining in January. Makes a huge impact here away from home. 6 minutes in. It's Everton 1, RC Lens 0. And we could well do to RC Lens what we did to Manchester United in the first leg. We won by 3 goals at Old Trafford. We did concede 2. I'm looking to avoid that here today. But I think as RC Lens press to get back into the game, I think they're going to leave themselves even more exposed. And I think we just try and find Alan Saint-Maximin as often as possible this evening. Matheus Cunha had picked up a knock earlier on, but he's already managed to run that off. So nothing too serious at all. And Matheus Cunha has stolen the ball away. And we're going to look for Alan Saint-Maximin, cut out this time by Lukeba. He was somebody that I was worried about in the Lens back line. He's a very, very good player. A player that I've signed in career modes past. But it was Lukeba that Saint-Maximin managed to beat for the opening goal of the game just moments ago. And I think we're going to find equal success with Diao down the right-hand side as well, to be fair. Maybe not quite as much as we find with Saint-Maximin. Diao not quite as pacey. That's a really loose pass, though. And we're going to have to track back and make sure we defend well, because whilst we might be able to expose RC Lens in behind as they commit players forward, they are going to be committing players forward, which means that we are going to need to defend to a high standard. And that's not what we've done there. Good save, Jordan Pickford. So, a warning shot from RC Lens. It's not like we're going to completely have our way with them today, I don't think. They are going to cause us problems. But look at the space that Saint-Maximin has. And again, he can just drive at that back line. Beats Lukeba inside this time. Can't quite beat the second man and get a shot away. Karsdorp, I don't think he's a very pacey player, Karsdorp. I'm not overly familiar with him, but from what I understand, he is not going to have the pace to keep up with Saint-Maximin in support of Lukeba on that left-hand side. On the Everton left anyway, on that RC Lens right-hand side. Good challenge, Lewis Ferguson. And we're looking Hassan Diao's way this time. Beats his man easily. Alan Saint-Maximin at the back post. Cuts it back inside. Can he get a shot away this time? Yes, he can. Parried away by the Lens goalkeeper, though. But 20 minutes into the game, Hassan Diao linking well with Lewis Ferguson. Saint-Maximin almost doubling the lead, and Anton Stack will put the corner in. The ball will drop to Alan Saint-Maximin. Ahmed Hodzic into Isak Toure. Alan Saint-Maximin once more. Maxim de Kuyper. Poor pass. Equally poor touch, though, from the Lens defender. And we'll just settle on the ball a little bit here. It's been a pretty frantic opening 20 minutes or so. Neither team really content to just sit in possession of the ball. But I think now that the game is well underway and we do already have a lead, I think we should be content to do that, to just sit in possession. Not for the next 70 minutes by any means, but every once in a while, just to slow the game down, slow any momentum that RC Lens might be able to build for themselves, just to take the sting out of the game at various points. Lewis Ferguson took up a really good position, and Maxim de Kuyper putting a really good cross. Equally good defending by Lens, though. And we've done a good job of keeping an eye on Gyökeres so far. He is easily going to be their most dangerous player going forward. But we've done a good job to keep him quiet thus far. Matheus Cunha, nice little turn. Can he get a shot away? Finds Hassan Diao instead. There's Anton Stack. Really good ball for Nathan Patterson, who just about manages to bring it down on his chest. There's Lewis Ferguson. Found with another cross, this time from the opposite side. But his header unfortunately goes wide. Taking up another really good position in the box, Lewis Ferguson. And we'll try and press RC Lens high up the field when we get the opportunity as well. Like we have here. Nathan Patterson can't quite steal the ball away, though. Lewis Ferguson can, but it is going to be a Lens throw-in. I thought potentially Lewis Ferguson had managed to play it off the defender. Dangerous throw-in. Doesn't come back to bite them, though. And Lens come away with the ball. Did we do a good job of forcing them back, though? We are sitting in our shape very nicely. And as I said early in the game, I think we're going to have the advantage system-wise. This Lens system doesn't seem to match up very well against a 3-4-3 at all. Neither defensively nor going forward. That's a really loose pass, Nathan Patterson. It does seem to me that the only way we're going to come away without a win here is if we fail to secure that victory ourselves. I don't think Lens are really going to cause us too many problems. I don't think they're going to beat us. I think if we don't manage to come away with the victory, it's because we somehow or another beat ourselves. Offside is the call. Nathan Patterson, fair enough. But half an hour into the game, things have been looking comfortable. Maybe suspiciously comfortable. And we can allow RC Lens the ball, I think, in their own half. Because they don't seem to be able to do too much with it. Maxim de Kuiper steals the ball away. Mateus Cunha. Hassan Diao through the middle. Good touch. Goes down. No penalty. I think maybe the Lens defender did get the ball on that occasion. I wasn't so convinced earlier on with the challenge on Mateus Cunha on the edge of the box. But I think that one seemed probably fair enough. It was worth a shout to see if the ref would give something. Oh, and Maxim de Kuiper's nutmeg there. As RC Lens look to try and unlock our defence for the second time today. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. If we fail to make simple challenges. No. No, 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 no. Hassan Diao down on the ground. The referee is waving to the touchline. I think that's going to be a torn ACL. I think Hassan Diao has torn his ACL. We're going to have to make a change. Reece Nelson to come on for Hassan Diao. But he's clutching his knee. He hasn't got the ball. I take it back. There's no way he's got the ball there. That's a penalty. That's a penalty. And that could be a huge, huge injury if that is a torn ACL. Our run-in at the end of this season just got a whole lot more difficult because Hassan Diao has been so influential for us for the entire season so far, but especially over the last couple of months. And if we are without him for the second leg of this quarter-final clash, into the semi-finals if we get there, and for our remaining games in the Premier League, we are maybe not going to struggle, but we are going to be without one of our best attacking players. And RC Lens now pushing for an equaliser. Toure puts in a fantastic challenge. Reece Nelson manages to clear. Lewis Ferguson comes away on the right-hand side now. Not quite as much pace as somebody like a Sam Maximan or an Hassan Diao. Anton Stack, can he find space to shoot? Not quite. Could have taken the shot on earlier, but there were defenders in position to make the block. And if that is a torn ACL for Hassan Diao, the addition of Sam Maximan is going to be so much more important, because we do have a bit of depth in the wing positions now. Being able to bring Reece Nelson on from the bench to replace Hassan Diao is a luxury that we really haven't had until January of this season. Cunha makes it 2. Sam Maximan opens the scoring. Sets up the goal for Mateus Cunha to double the lead just before half-time. And that one is for Hassan Diao. Haven't seen him out on the touchline yet. I believe he's in the back being looked at by the training staff. And we are certainly trying to come away with a victory. Of course we would be regardless. But with Hassan Diao absolutely maimed by the RC Lens defenders in the first half and potentially being out for the remainder of the season, that's something that's going to drive us on towards victory in this game and beyond. Really, really good first half performance. A couple of scary moments. Jordan Pickford being called upon to make a very, very good save early. Isak Toure making a good block to prevent the ball from going in the back of the net as well. But other than that, we look very comfortable. We've taken our opportunities when they've come. And we've set ourselves up very nicely for the second half as well as for the second leg. So back out for the second half against RC Lens. And I think we don't have to press for another goal in this game now. I think with a 2-goal lead, we can just make sure that we defend well, make sure that we keep possession, make sure that we use the ball efficiently and effectively, and make sure we come away with a clean sheet. We go to Goodison Park with a 2-0 lead. I really struggle to see how we don't progress to the next round. Of course, we are still going to look to exploit RC Lens in behind, but I don't think we need to commit ourselves to attacking moves quite as much as we did in the first half at this stage. And I think at some point in this second half, we probably drop into our defensive game plan as well. Not just yet, but as we approach the hour mark, I think we're going to be looking to make that change. Gyökeres has barely touched the ball in the game so far. Nathan Patterson heads clear. Matheus Cunha knocks it down to Reece Nelson and we could be away. It's 3-on-2. But if we can get Sam Maximan up in support in this attack as well, and we've got players at the back post, that 3-on-2 in RC Lens's favour quickly turned into a 4-on-2 in our favour somehow. Thomason to come off for Lens. Ocampos, I believe, making his debut, I think I saw ahead of the game in a news story. As Anton Stack puts in the corner once more. Can Lewis Ferguson get there first? Yes, he can. There's Ahmed Hodzic. And we would just retain possession through Maxim de Kuyper, Isak Toure. Eventually Nathan Patterson. Nice run from Matheus Cunha. Bit much on the pass from Nathan Patterson. But Cunha has found Ferguson. 3-0. We are walking into the semi-finals of the Europa League. Absolutely nothing Lens can do to contain us. Nathan Patterson finds Matheus Cunha. Did really well to control the pass. Squeezed past his man and into the box. Lewis Ferguson completely unmarked. Nothing the goalkeeper can do about that. And we beat Manchester United by 3 goals in the first leg of the round of 16. And we have a 3-goal lead once more here in the quarterfinals. I think now we will drop into our defensive game plan. 3-0. 55 minutes into the game. Let's just make sure we come away with a clean sheet and go back to Goodison Park with the advantage squarely with us in these knockout stages. Be interesting to see the scores from around the other fixtures as well. Newcastle taking on Porto. Ahmed Hodzic get rid. It's a goal kick. Newcastle taking on Porto. It was, I believe, Ajax versus Real Sociedad. And Milan versus, I forget the remaining team in the quarterfinals. Ahmed Hodzic. Be impressed by Gyökeres. Again, he's barely touched the ball. It seems as though, it feels as though RC Lens have taken a slightly more aggressive approach in the last 5 minutes or so. But that's likely going to be their downfall, if anything. It did feel as though they were pressing a little bit more aggressively and higher up the pitch there with Gyökeres. But, I mean, I don't like that approach for RC Lens. I think if they take that approach in the next 10-15 minutes, I would bet my house on us scoring again before they do. Reiss Nelson can't quite find Matheus Cunha. Lens with players forward. Anton Stack steals the ball away though. Saint-Maximin make a run. And this is exactly why I would bet on us scoring again. They're just leaving themselves exposed, Lens. And there's Anton Stack. Not the best pass from Saint-Maximin. A little too far in front of the midfielder. But does go out for a corner. Lens to make a change or two. I think Graham Potter's going to do the same. Fulgini to come off for Lens. Sebastian Haller to come on up front alongside Gyökeres. And we're actually going to take a relatively defensive approach for the remainder of the game. Alain Saint-Maximin to make way for Festi Ebesele. We are not, however, sacrificing any pace on the wings. Reiss Nelson will shift over to the left-hand side. Festi Ebesele will play on the right. But Ebesele is equally as pacey as Saint-Maximin, maybe even more so. And Matheus Cunha also makes way for Gerard Deulofeu. About half an hour to go in the game, stoppage time included, so we'll see if Lens can grab what would be a consolation goal here in this first fixture, now that they do have Sebastian Haller on alongside Gyökeres up front. And whilst a goal here would be a consolation in this game, of course it would be a little more than that over the course of the two legs, as Kevin Danso has also picked up an injury. I'm really nervous to see what that is and whether or not that's an injury that lingers or whether it is one that he can run off. We've had Matheus Cunha go down earlier in the game. He did manage to run his off. Hassan Diao, of course, didn't manage to do so. So I'm hoping that Kevin Danso does follow in the footsteps of Matheus Cunha rather than Hassan Diao, because I would hate to lose a key offensive and defensive player in this game. Of course, a 3-goal lead going into the second leg is something worth paying a price for, but I'm not sure whether I'd want to sacrifice one of my best attacking and one of my best defensive players in order to come away with that 3-goal victory. Lens looking like they're potentially resigning themselves to the result here as well. Not moving the ball particularly quickly. Maxime de Kuyper is beaten on the left-hand side though. And Nathan Patterson just about manages to head clear. At least I think he got the last touch. We'll find out, and he did. Really important touch from Nathan Patterson to nod that away. There was Ferguson with the foot in, but can't quite come away with the ball. Kevin Danso still nursing that injury. And Festi Ebesele will come away on this right-hand side. He's got a chance to run at the Lens defence for the first time. Lofts it in for Gerard Deulofeu. He's just going to hold the ball up before he finds Festi Ebesele once more. Poor pass behind Nathan Patterson, but we can just retain possession and switch the play to Ahmed Hodzic. Maxime de Kuyper, Anton Stack. Two players over here, one of whom is Deulofeu, but Nathan Patterson as well, and a ball into a completely unmarked Anton Stack, who was offside. I thought he may have been. Let's see how close it was. Not very close at all. I did think he was offside as I played that cross in. You do never know though. Sometimes there is a defender lurking somewhere out of your line of sight that might be keeping them on. Not on that occasion. Good ball out to the left-hand side. Nathan Patterson does well to stand up the Lens man. Gyökeres though. Good challenge, Isak Toure. Forces the ball clear. Only as far as the Lens wing-back. Nathan Patterson can't make sure of the clearance. Festi Ebesele back doing his defensive duties as well though. Lewis Ferguson beaten. Anton Stack as well. Good strike. Good block. And Deulofeu just lays it into the path of Anton Stack. And Maxim de Kuyper, rather than venturing into the Lens half, will just retain possession. Sensible decision. And that will just allow Anton Stack to venture into the Lens half instead. Reiss Nelson. Gerard Deulofeu holds his run. There's Maxim de Kuyper. There's Anton Stack with a left-footed shot. Bit of a tame one. It's not his strongest foot, Anton Stack. And you could certainly tell there. Easily blocked. And I think we are going to have to take Kevin Danso off in these last 10 minutes or so. He is still nursing that injury. And we have the opportunity to do that here. I don't like that Danso is still injured. So 2 final changes for Graham Potter and Everton. Kevin Danso to come off for Ben Godfrey. Anton Stack to come off for Scott McTominay. I mean, Kevin Danso has left the pitch of his own volition. It's not like Assane Diao where he had to be helped off the field. But that doesn't mean it's not an injury that's going to linger and that might see Kevin Danso out for a number of games. Deulofeu. Can he make it 4? He can't get the shot away. Scott McTominay tracking back. Gyökeres has done absolutely nothing today. Absolutely nothing. He's wide right at the moment. Beats Maxim de Kuyper for the first time. Crosses in towards Haller, but easily hooks clear. Bastien Basele nods it down. Gerard Deulofeu will just find Scott McTominay. Ahmed Hodzic. Reiss Nelson on this left-hand side. Good run, Scott McTominay. Did enough to take away the Lens defender, but Reiss Nelson turned into trouble. And it was a good challenge in the end to dispossess him. Gyökeres finally starting to cause some issues for our back line. He's been much more effective off that right-hand side than he was through the middle. Finds Sebastian Haller. Lewis Ferguson is onside. This one I am certain of. Deulofeu inside him. There's Scott McTominay. There's a 4th goal. What did we say? I would bet my house on us scoring before Lens. Gyökeres finally starting to make an impact on the game. But Lens committing players forward late to try and grab a goal. Just leave gaps in behind. Look at the space that Scott McTominay has. Made no mistake with the finish. Absolutely buried it. And dare I say it, we are in the semi-finals already. We are in the semi-finals already. I'm not scared to say that whatsoever. And even with without Matheus Cunha and Kevin Danso, rather. Not Matheus Cunha. Without Assane Diao and Kevin Danso, I would still bet my mortgage on us progressing to the next round. Don't see any way that Lens overcome a 4-0 deficit. Can we even make it 5? Good ball over to Reiss Nelson, but pretty poor touch ultimately. Lens still looking for a goal in this game, though. I mean, they may as well. Good challenge, Scott McTominay. Come on, let's make it 5. That's such a poor pass. That's such a poor pass. So is that, though. I mean, we'll have it back. There goes the referee's final whistle. 4-0 victory away from home. Half of the Everton fans have left. It's understandable that the Lens fans have departed the stadium early. But a victory so comfortable that the Everton fans have got a head start getting back to the airport for their flights home. The victory more than secure at this stage. And there's been some magical European nights this season. Wasn't sure how our first season in Europe would go, to be honest. It's gone far better than we could ever have expected. And I have had a sneak peek at the scores already from the other fixtures in the quarterfinals. Some interesting results, but I think our scoreline is going to be the one that stands out. A dominant performance, a dominant final score. Newcastle's victory almost as convincing, though. A 3-1 victory over Porto in their first leg. Real Sociedad draw 0-0 with Ajax, and Villarreal come away with maybe a slight surprise win over AC Milan, 2-1 in their first leg. Unfortunately, though, it is bad news. 2 injuries after the game to be reported. Kevin Danzo, fortunately, is only out for 5 days with a bruised elbow. Assane Diao, however, has dislocated his shoulder. Didn't expect to see that one as he was clutching his knee on the turf. He's going to be out for 2 months, so we probably are going to be without him for the remainder of the season. There are about 6 weeks left of the season, so I don't think that's going to be enough time for Assane Diao to come back. So we will be without him for our final 7 games in the Premier League, and we really could do with him because we're drawing ever closer to those European places. We're now just 3 points behind Aston Villa, and we still have that game in hand. So if we win that, we could draw level on points. We do have a couple of really good opportunities to put some points on the board in the Premier League in the next episode too, as we take on Nottingham Forest at home. That will probably be our featured game of the episode. We also have Brentford next episode as well, and of course we have that return fixture hosting RC Lens at Goodison Park. So a somewhat bittersweet episode in the end. We have all but secured our place in the semi-finals of the Europa League, but losing Assane Diao could prove to be a massive, massive blow. But we will see how we do without him in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.